I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good morning, Ben Martinez. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
Wonderfully and beautiful. It's probably earlier where I am versus where you are. It's 6:45 a.m. my time. I'm sipping on a wonderful cup of French press coffee right now.
Oh, sweet. Oh, even looking at your LinkedIn page, that cup of coffee, it's the most tantalizing image that you can have for someone who could do with a cup of coffee.
Thank you. We try hard.
Oh, that's great. So, tell me, my friend, which of your talents is responsible for us meeting? Is it just that, the coffee?
Well, I think it partly the coffee, but I think a lot of it is just the fact that I am someone who puts myself out there on social media with a purpose to help others and share things that I work on that I think can be helpful, and I think that's probably how we found each other. And I believe it was on either LinkedIn or some other social media site that we'd come across. And after we connected, I checked out what you were doing. You seemed like someone would be fun to get together with. So I'd say maybe my talents would be pouring my heart into my work and sharing it with people online. And that's probably what made us responsible for meeting.
Yeah, you're definitely on point. I love what you're doing. The podcast. All right, so let's unpack the podcast, The Secret Tech Sauce, right? Where did that name come from?
That name, so a couple things about that. That name, originally we started that podcast about 3 years ago, maybe not quite 3 years ago, about 2 years ago. And it came from, we wanted to share the secrets in the technology industry that people have, that make them successful. And then it turned in from just technology into almost anybody, because a lot of people are successful just not in technology. But we wanted to share some of the tips about technology with people, and then we didn't put a lot of barriers in what we were doing on purpose. And I was actually teamed up with two of the people on the podcast, and then it turned into interviewing. Like, I've interviewed Olympic athletes, successful business owners, musicians, comedians, just a lot of different people. But we do always share about what is the technology related to that. Since then, the other two people, ventured on to do other things. So I just run the podcast now. It's just me, and because I love doing them. And now I'm turning it into a business. And so the business is actually, it's a recruiting and employment branding agency, and a kind of an HR technology and recruiting technology service that we're turning it into. That I've got two clients that I'm working with right now, but the name of it is Secret Tech Sauce Talent, because it was fitting to the work I was doing around talent and recruiting and human resources and helping a lot of companies that happen to be in the technology industry. So it kind of went from the podcast into a business, and it just kind of made sense to do that. So that's what's behind that name. Yeah,
it's fascinating, right? How one thing equals the other, and even in the podcasting, we're like, some people are like, all right, let's look at an accountant looking at your business model. He says, oh, no, that doesn't make sense. No profit there, right? But the ROI on conversations, it's pretty high, isn't it? Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, oh, yes, it is. They stay there for a long time. I get people still from podcasts 2 years ago that will reach out to me who listen to a podcast, and it's amazing that, what people get out of those podcasts, those interviews.
Yeah. You're definitely the connector, right, Ben? So tell me, who did you learn that skill from?
I've often, people have told me that before as well, and it's not something that I consider myself, but like, I don't, look at myself in the mirror and say I'm a connector. I think probably where I learned that skill is I grew up in a small town, and in that small town, there's not a lot of boundaries. You pretty much just, you woke up in the morning, if you didn't have school, that is, and you ran the streets, and you came home when it was dark or when it was dinner, when you're hungry. We didn't have a curfew, and I had a great childhood growing up. But my point is I think I always just felt that the world was free to roam, connect with anybody, because I'd go to people's houses for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and they come over to my house too. and that was just the nature of the beast growing up in a small town. And as I moved away, went to bigger cities, and small towns are not good in terms of like opportunities in the business that I'm in, but I think I just kind of took that natural maybe skill I learned when I was young, and that's how I applied it in work and professional life. And I think that that's a lot how things can be when you're inside of businesses. They don't need to you don't need to create these boundaries that I think get in people's head that they can't walk up and approach people. I think that everybody, if you're on Earth, I think you got a shot. I think no matter who you are, you connect with them. So that's probably where I learned it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, hey, there are times, right, that you jump out, you have that conversation, and sometimes it's awkward. Sometimes it doesn't work the way you thought it could work or would work. My question is, why will you continue to repeat the skill of connecting with others in spite of that?
Well, I mean, there are times when I don't want to, personally connect with someone. Like that it just depends on the moment, the situation. I think you have to, always control who you are, control yourself. And if there's an old saying, I don't know, it's just a saying that someone told me early on in my early 20s, but it was basically said, there's never an uninteresting person, there's just an uninteresting topic. And I think what he meant around that is it's up to you to be curious when you meet with somebody and really learn what interests them and really how you can help them. And a lot when I connect with people, I don't really approach people and try to sell them anything or push them on anything. It's really just genuine interest in connecting with them. And sometimes, you don't connect with people, but it's not, I don't take it personal. It's something that it's, an interaction that maybe I had and then I go on my way and I reflect after that interaction and say, did I connect to that person? And is that something that I should stay in touch with? And if I didn't, then it's okay. It's not really anything personal. It's just life goes on, and who knows? You may connect with them down the road. It maybe just wasn't the right time. So
yeah, I love that. Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's a couple of things that I've done consistently over the last 3 years. It's really bled into my work life and personal life and family life. Is I learned how to play the guitar was actually about 2 years ago.
Oh, sweet.
And I had no musical background at all. And just something I always wanted to do. And I actually I got a guitar and I learned how to play. I got lessons. And for 10 to 20 minutes, there's 30 minutes a day, I consistently practice the guitar to the point where I can play, 5 or 6 songs really good. Wow. And I really enjoy playing the guitar. Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
It made me feel really good because I never thought in a million years, neither did anybody that knows me well, that I could ever play the guitar. So when I posted a video of me playing the guitar once, I think I knocked people off their socks, or out of their socks. And I applied to my personal or business as well, where starting a business, you just got to be persistent and patient and just keep working at it every day. And I mean, that can go the same meaning as with sports or anything. So that I would say probably the guitar is something that I've been persistent at.
Yeah, it's fascinating. What type of guitar are you playing?
Just an acoustic.
Sweet.
Just an acoustic. I may venture into electric or others, but I mean, just right now, just an acoustic.
Yeah. The acoustic is really an entrepreneur's gift, right? Because you could just pick it up. No need to plug in. No need to tune that much, right?
Yeah.
But you just pick it up and you play, right? Yeah. Do send that video for me. I'd love to see that video.
I certainly will. Yeah. Now I will say it's not gonna. I'm not the most talented, but it's a guy who's just been persistent for 2 years, and I went from zero, nothing, to playing the guitar. So I will see the video.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Yeah. So suggest to someone listening why they should do what you've done. Really, really wrap their minds around what can be achieved.
Yeah, not limitations on what can be achieved. Well, I think what I would share around this is, and I've had to learn this in my own evolution and journey, is people get caught up in a sense of their own self, and they take things really personal. And whether it's their career, what move they should make, they're the chief whatever officer, the VP of whatever, they want to be that title, and they get so wrapped up into their career, and they attach it to themselves personally toward it. That's who defines them. And what I would say to that is that actually limits yourself, because you're not who your career is. You're not who, what your job title is or what you say on LinkedIn. And what I would say to all that is be real and be you and go do. And do not get wrapped up in how you are looked or how you're perceived or how you're judged. That's somebody else's problem, not yours. Be yourself. And whatever work it is that you find, be interested in it and act on it. If you find something you're interested in, that's why I started a coffee coffee business because I'm very interested in coffee, and I acted on it and reflect, right? And along the way, make sure you're doing the right things, but be interested in your work. Be interested in it. You're doing yourself a disservice and all the people around you a disservice if you're not interested in your work, you're not acting on it. A lot of people in corporate America and a lot of people in jobs sadly get stuck in jobs and do jobs they're not interested in, and they're miserable. But they go in there and they do it because they're paid to do it, and they think they don't have a way out. And if they're not interested in it, change the game, because the world will be a better place. And I know that's a vague statement to say, but the world will be a better place if everybody's working on work that they're interested in, because you're going to contribute better to society. If you do work you're interested in, you act on it, you're going to do good things. But if you just do work that you're not interested in for a paycheck, that's going to really stifle you and the companies you're working for.
Love it. Amazing audience. We are live with Ben Martinez. No, I need to say his name like this, right? It's like Martinez because he's the guitarist, right? As well, right? But check out his podcast, Secret Tech Sauce, right? And check out all he's doing there. Really amazing stuff. Really a coffee lover. So if you're a coffee lover, do check that out. Ben, let's switch gears for a moment now. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Ben, what is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory? Wow. Let's see. That's going back a ways. Early 40s now. I will say for a brief period of time, we lived next to my grandma and grandpa before my parents moved. Like I said, moved in a small town, and then we moved on the other end of the town, which is not far from the small town. My earliest childhood memory is helping my grandpa, who was a bricklayer and just a great man. Earliest childhood memory was helping my grandfather out when I was young, probably 3-4 years old, and that would go into jobs as he was building homes and helping him out, lifting bricks, doing just kind of hard work with your hands around these homes, and nothing but good memories around that. And watching my grandpa interact with all walks of life and working with them and just being a good person.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
I think it's so clear because I think it's just because it was probably something that at the time I didn't realize it, but he was teaching me something. He was teaching me a gift. He was teaching me, how to work. He was teaching me how to treat people, how to be kind to people. And I think it's probably human nature that I just picked up on that and remembered that memory. And even though I didn't realize it while I was remembering it, and I think I've always just it's stayed clear in my head. And I always think about my grandfather and all the things he taught me at a young age. And I think that's just clear because I think humans are, it's kind of a personal philosophy, but I think humans are intended to be good people. And I think that once you learn something at a young age, it's good. I think it sticks with you.
Yeah. Well, that is definitely your interpretation. Can I offer my interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Why, yes, please. Yeah.
I love the fact that you spoke of him being a bricklayer and the value that comes understanding the power of the foundation. The foundation you lay, or even the concept of the stone that is rejected ends up being the chief cornerstone, right? The headstone. A bricklayer always says that, right? But what you're doing is really things that are based on the fundamental, the foundation of humanity, I believe, which is the power of a conversation, the power of approaching humanity with the idea of, hey, this is who I am. I'd like to know who you are. And let's move on from there. And that is fascinating how it connects from then to even now.
I love that. Yeah, no, I'm actually going to have to kindly steal some of your what you took there from that, because I think there's a lot to that. And,
no, it's yours. You don't need to steal it. It's yours.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
If we fast forward to when you were 12 years old, what was your favorite song?
Probably, I had an older brother that was really into heavy metal.
Yeah.
And so I got exposed to heavy metal. And so, and at the time, Guns N' Roses was a pretty hot. I'm not into heavy metal now, but I mean, so probably a Guns N' Roses song, "Welcome to the Jungle." was probably.
it's fascinating how it connects, right, Ben? It's definitely "Welcome to the Jungle," right? The entrepreneur life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right, my friend. Well, we have arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to go quickly here. Ben, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Nope.
What about screen time, the phone and or the computer? More than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh dear, probably high 8 hours a day, but a lot of it's work related, I will say. But yes, a lot.
Okay. After having 1,001 conversations in 2016, I came up with a workbook that's called Yours. It stands for your own unique real self. Connected to that is your own unique real statement, your mission, if you would. If you could share with us your own unique real statement, something that represents Ben Martinez, what would you say that is?
An authentic leader who cares about his family, his relationships, and the people he works with, and he's someone who will help you achieve what you're looking to do.
Love it. Authenticity. Ben Martinez, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
No, sir, Angel, but I really appreciate this conversation. I thank you for reaching out. I look forward to staying in touch.
Yeah, for sure. It's been my pleasure. Ben Martinez, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.